Hey everybody, Qroo here. Welcome to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you a useful construction in Spanish that you can use when you go somewhere and you want to ask someone for something. The other day, I had a friend call me and he's like, hey, can you help me with the Spanish? He goes, I went down to register my car in Tulum, Mexico, and I was trying to get a copy of the requirements, and I wasn't even sure kind of how to phrase that. I was trying to think, can I have a copy? So I was like, puedo tener una copia? And he was like, that didn't sound right in my head. Then I thought, give me a copy, dame una copia, and that sounded rude. And I was like, quiero una copia? And he goes, I just was debating how to even ask them to give it to me. So in response to that, I taught him the grammatical construction I'm about to teach you. Super easy to remember. It mirrors the English almost exactly, and it doesn't require any conjugation. Sound too good to be true? No, it's not. It's true. And here it is. Sería posible plus a verb in the infinitive. The infinitive means unconjugated form. Would it be possible to do something? This mirrors your English exactly. Sería comes from the verb ser, which means to be. It's already conjugated in the conditional. Sería. Would it be? Posible. Possible. You shouldn't have any trouble remembering that word because it's a cognate. It looks just like your English, except it only has one S in it. Sería posible. Would it be possible? You go to places and you're like, hey, would it be possible to get a copy of that? Would it be possible to come back tomorrow? Would it be possible to get this done today? So we have sería posible. We're going to have to pop in a verb here. A lot of times we're asking to obtain something or to get something, so we're going to show you two useful verbs for that. The first one is obtener. Obtener. Now that already sounds like obtain, right? So that should be easy to remember. Now you can see the verb tener right in there. And tener is one of our power verbs in Spanish. You should already know that one. It means to have. It is irregular in the conjugations, but if you've already learned the conjugations for tener, you already know how to conjugate obtener because it's identical. So in tener it would be like tengo, I have, tienes, you have. Obtener works the same way. Obtengo, I obtain, obtienes, you obtain. But in this particular construction, we're not conjugating. I'm just throwing that in for some extra info. So we pop it all together. Sería posible obtener una copia? Would it be possible to obtain a copy? Let's say you want a copy of something, but you don't know how to say it. You could add de eso, of that. Sería posible obtener una copia de eso? It's pretty easy, right? This is mirroring your English. Sería posible obtener. Would it be possible to obtain? I'm going to give you another verb to get or obtain something, and it is conseguir. Conseguir. Now, if you use the verb seguir, which means to follow, but it's much more useful than that, you can see that right in this verb. If you know how to conjugate that one, you're going to know how to conjugate this one. But in this construction, we don't have to conjugate. I'm just throwing that out there. Sería posible conseguir una copia? Would it be possible to get or obtain a copy? Which verb you use is completely up to you. ¿Sería posible obtener una copia de eso? ¿Sería posible conseguir una copia de eso? So let's say you go somewhere and you want to get an application for something. Maybe you want to work there, maybe it's an application for something else. The word for application is solicitud, solicitud, and it is a feminine noun, right? So you could ask them, ¿sería posible obtener una solicitud? Or ¿sería posible conseguir una solicitud? And if you want to add like job application, you can add like de empleo or something on the end. ¿Sería posible obtener una solicitud de empleo? Now this construction is not just useful, you know, when you go to government offices or trying to get a job application. My wife uses this particular construction a lot when we go to all-inclusives. We always get there early because, well, we paid money and we want to, you know, take advantage of all the all-inclusive, you know, the food and alcohol. So when we get there early, they inevitably tell us, hey, you can enjoy the facilities, but you can't get your room until 3 o'clock. My wife responds to this every single time with, ¿sería posible conseguir la habitación antes de las 3? Would it be possible to get the room before 3? And sometimes they go, no. Sometimes they say yeah. So this is also a useful construction if you want to make an appointment. Would it be possible to make an appointment? ¿Sería posible agendar una cita or hacer una cita? Agendar is to schedule and hacer is to make. So let's say I want to use that construction, but I want to set a particular date like March 5th. Would it be possible to make an appointment for March 5th? All we have to do is tweak it a little bit. ¿Sería posible agendar una cita for el, we're going to use the definite article in there, and then we're going to put the number. So el 5 de marzo. ¿Sería posible agendar una cita para el 5 de marzo? Now let's say I want a day of the week, like, is it possible to schedule an appointment for Tuesday? we're still going to leave that little definite article in there. ¿Sería posible agendar una cita para el martes? El martes. Now, a lot of English speakers will be like, why is that the in there? Because you're really saying for the Tuesday. Because it's Spanish, just roll with it, okay? Don't overthink this thing. ¿Sería posible agendar una cita para el martes? Would it be possible to schedule an appointment for Tuesday? So whichever day of the week you're using, just remember to keep that definite article. Para el lunes for Monday, para el martes for Tuesday, para el miércoles for Wednesday, para el jueves for Thursday, para el viernes for Friday, para el sábado for Saturday, para el domingo for Sunday. And if you want to put a time in there, you can throw it in at the end. Let's say I want to ask, is it possible to schedule an appointment for Tuesday at 11 o'clock? ¿Sería posible agendar una cita para el martes a las 11? Piece of cake, right? Let's bounce back to our scenario with our government office, because a lot of times it's difficult to get things done in Mexico, so you're trying to sweet talk your way in. You'll try to get something done and they tell you to come back another day. So a very useful thing to ask is, ¿sería posible hacerlo hoy? Would it be possible to do it today? Let's take a look at that sentence. ¿Sería posible hacerlo? We put that it's attached to the infinitive. We're not conjugating verbs, we're popping them in. So when we put the we want to attach it to that infinitive. Those are called object pronouns. They can be indirect or direct object pronouns, but you're going to pop them right on that infinitive. So Linda and I will use this construction sometimes. Let's say we go to a restaurant and we're sitting somewhere and another table frees up and we want to ask if we can change tables. ¿Sería posible cambiar de mesa? ¿Sería posible cambiar de mesa? Or we go to some sporting event or we're something and we want to sit closer or something. We want to ask if we can change seats. ¿Sería posible cambiar de asiento? ¿Sería posible cambiar de asiento? So let's make this a little bit more complex. We're going to start using reflexive verbs, all right? Let's say I want to ask, hey, would it be possible for us to sit there, right? To sit down there. To sit down is sentarse. Sentarse. It's a reflexive verb. Now I could ask something very generic. Would it be possible to sit there? I'm not specifying us, just in general. ¿Sería posible sentarse allí? That's very generic. That's not asking if I can sit there. When we're dealing with our reflexives, we're still going to keep it in the infinitive, but we're going to change that ending to indicate who we're talking about. So if Lynn and I are sitting together somewhere, let's say we're on a plane, and the plane fills up, but there's a couple seats closer, and we want to ask, hey, is it possible for us to sit there? ¿Sería posible sentarnos allí? ¿Sería posible sentarnos allí? Now, if I just said, is it possible for me to sit there? Maybe I'm tired of talking to her, I don't know. ¿Sería posible sentarme ahí? ¿Sería posible sentarme ahí? So this is going to work with any kind of reflexive. Let's say I want to ask, hey, would it be possible for us to change before we go out to dinner? I know that sounds more complex. ¿Sería posible cambiarnos de ropa antes de salir a cenar? ¿Sería posible cambiarnos de ropa antes de salir a cenar? Well, that's it for the video. I hope you found this construction useful and you can see how to work it into your own Spanish. And until next time, hasta luego.